Welcome to Now Found. My name is Courtney Cohen. Are we in possession of our things, or do our things possess us? When I was 11 years old, my family was evicted from our beautiful home. There had been some deception regarding finances and financial provision, so my family found ourselves having to pack up our 4,500 square foot home in less than 24 hours and get out of there. It was a crazy, crazy day, and it was a really difficult season. Everything that I owned, everything except for some of my clothes, and I managed to hold on to my stereo because I just couldn't bear to part with it. Everything else went into storage for some indefinite period of time. For an entire year, we depended on the generosity of extended family. We squeezed ourselves, our family of 4, and our 70-pound dog into small spaces. We slept on couches and on air mattresses and on the floor. And this was a really uncertain time in our lives. We didn't know when we were going to be able to be back on our feet again. But for me, this year of my life really opened up my eyes to what I could live without. For the first time in my life, it wasn't all completely cushy every single day. And yet, even with the limitations that we experienced, that was nothing compared to the poverty that is experienced by billions of people all over the world. We were still richly provided for, even though we were living very minimally in that period of time. So a year later, we were finally starting to get back on our feet. We bought an old cash car and we rented a small house and just started to piece our lives back together. And I remember the day that the moving truck arrived. It was like Christmas in the month of March. All of my possessions, they were suddenly back. I had all of my stuff, finally. But I realized that something within me had drastically changed in that period of time, separated from my stuff. Something was different. Before we had to pack everything away, I had been a pretty messy child, almost bordering on hoarding my stuff, just shoving everything into cabinets and closets and under the bed, just wanting to keep everything, but I didn't keep everything well. I didn't keep it tidy or organized. I didn't steward what I had well. I guess pretty normal kid, maybe. But in that time, with so few things, I treasured the few things that I had, and I learned how to take care of those very few things very, very well. So when that moving truck unloaded my stuff, I had a place for everything. Suddenly, it mattered to me that I steward my possessions well, that I take care of them. I think one of the biggest lessons that I took away from that year was learning the difference between need and want. I used to say, oh, I need that toy, I need that shirt, I need this. And I didn't, I just wanted it. And so going without my typical wants for so long taught me more about what I actually did need. It was one of the most vital life lessons that I've ever learned, that I've ever experienced. Our relationship with things, it can be tricky sometimes. There's this sense of reliance that many of us feel on our stuff. And sometimes I think we fear letting go of things because we're afraid, well, what if we need it in the future? We may not need it now, but what if we need it next month, next year? What if we need it then? Then we're just going to waste money, and why not just keep it? And so we just gather and keep all of our things close to our chest, and we want to hold all of our stuff dear, and yet at the same time, we allow those things that we are holding on to hold on to us, probably more closely than they need to be. Many of us have believed the lie, even if it's just been at a point in our lives, that stuff is the source of our happiness, that we gain our joy and our happiness from the items that we own. But at age 11, I learned how off base that very basic belief truly was. At age 11, I learned need versus want. I learned how rich are the intangible things. those things that we can't touch, but they have the realest substance. They have the most valuable substance. Family, our friends that would walk through fire with us. For me, music, writing, but even more profoundly, our faith, our relationship with God. These things that we can't put our finger to, and yet they are the realest real. They are the things that truly matter, far more than the possessions that are here one day and they're gone the next. I also learned that even though we might be going through a time that feels uncertain or shaky, or we're experiencing disappointment, our expectations haven't been met, there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something to be thankful for. There's a verse in James 1:17, and it says, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change." We live in a forever changing world. Everything's changing all the time. There are variances at every turn. Those lasting, intangible gifts don't originate with our stuff. They originate with a loving and unchanging God, who is the giver of all good things. At the foundation of what we need is not more stuff. What we need is a source that cannot be taken from us. We need eyes that can look around and see the gifts that are scattered in our daily lives everywhere. We need a perspective of gratitude for those things that will shift the way that we view our wants and our needs. Today, I have a free resource for you. My book, Finding Faith That Overcomes. I want to give you your own free copy. Our contentedness and our peace, it really comes from living in faith in God and in His provision, even and especially when we face those difficult, challenging times in our lives, which we will face. Go claim your free copy today at nowfound.org. This book is also available for purchase on Amazon. I just want it to be a blessing to you as you take steps in growing your faith, this intangible, good and perfect gift that comes with relationship with God. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our weekly videos. And always remember, you are never too lost to be found.